You got the recording started, sir?
It just started it.
Okay. All right. So at 5:34 p.m. on November 7th, I will call the meeting of the Shorewood Police Commission to order. And Captain Santiago, if you don't mind, was the agenda posted in its appropriate places?
Yes, it was.
Okay, excellent. So we've got proof of posting. Now, on our agenda, did everybody get a copy of the agenda so we can kind of follow along? There we go. Let's see if I can get the view together mode. All right. Oh, no. And view speaker. All right. So our first order of business then would be to consider the approval of the August 23rd, 2023 meeting minutes. Does everybody have access to a copy of that?
Yes, I do.
All right. And with that, just again, since we're not in person, but we are in our virtual world, let's just kind of walk through it. Craig, do you have any additions, deletions, etc., or do the minutes comport with your memory of the event?
Well, I was not there because I was sick, so I don't know if I can really respond.
Oh, that's right. You're excused, so never mind. Might be an abstention. Commissioner McKnight, have you had a chance to take a look at the minutes?
I have. I have no other comments on them.
Okay. And Commissioner Lipozovic, what do you think? Have you had an opportunity to take a look at the minutes?
Yep, I've had an opportunity to look at it. They comport with my election, and I would just like a point of correction. My name is spelled just Joanne, no capital A.
Okay. So with that addition, I would say taking a look at the minutes, including our closed session portion, that does comport with my memory of the event. With that, I would.
So I move we approve.
Yeah, I would ask for a motion to approve.
So given.
All right. So, and do we have a second?
I second that.
All right. So with a motion to approve the meeting minutes from August 23rd of 2023, Commissioner Bullock, how do you vote?
Aye.
All right. Commissioner McKnight, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Lipozovic, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I also vote aye. Motion carries and the minutes are approved. All right. Now, for process on our interviews, and because we're going to be interviewing a number of candidates, Chief or Captain Santiago, whomever would like to chime in. My understanding, how many interviewees do we have this evening?
Three.
All right. And with those three are, then I would read the notice, which is a notice to convene into closed session pursuant to Section 1985, sub 1, sub C of the Wisconsin State Statutes for the purpose of considering issues of employment on the following items. A, interviewing police officer candidates, and B, discuss police officer candidates to establish an eligibility list for the position of police officer. Having given that notice, I would ask for a motion to go into closed session.
Rick, before we did that, did you want me to briefly describe the process? Because it is part of the process to answer Joanne's question. I'm sorry, Commissioner Lipsovic's questions.
Well, to tell the truth, on an open or closed meeting, I guess I'm with process. If we want to go through the process, that would make sense. Why don't we belay the motion to go into closed session, and then yes, Chief, Commissioner Joanne, did you want to ask questions right now kind of about the process?
Well, or Chief, could just, walk through what she was going to share, and I can see if I have any questions based on that. That's fine.
Okay. All right, Chief.
So for each of the processes that we've been through, we take a look at the job responsibilities and it creates somebody's echoing. But we create a job posting, which sort of outlays the process, which explains what some of the job responsibilities are, what we're looking for in the candidates, and those the criteria essentially mirror what the Wisconsin Law Enforcement Standards Board looks for an applicant to become a certified member, a certified law enforcement officer. So 21 years of age, U.S. citizen, so on and so forth. And then we outline the process that we're going to go through, which is submitting the application, whether or not there's a deadline for the application, and then the processes by which they go through the interview. So there is a command interview that's attended by myself, Captain Santiago, Captain Roboleski. There's a field training officer panel. So we bring in 3 of our field training officers, and they have their set of questions that we revised in 2023. They also have to take a written exam, which is a standardized exam, and one used by a number of agencies. I forget who puts that exam on, but it's one that we've used. Fernando might know if you really want to know, but they have to receive a passing score for their written exam as well. And then they come to the police commission interview, at which time you interview them. And then an eligibility list is created for us to select a candidate and provide them with an offer of employment. In this case, none of the candidates that we have are certified, so they will be sponsored to go into an academy, which is a 720-hour academy. Prior to their entrance into the academy, they will be employed by our agency and employed by us throughout their entire term at the Law Enforcement Academy, and continued employment with the Sherwood Police Department will be predicated on their successful completion of the academy. Happy to answer any questions if there are. We can't hear you.
I muted so you wouldn't hear my cat in the background. Procedurally, when I used to pay for people to get educational pieces, we had kind of a quid pro quo. We're going to do this, and then you commit to a certain amount of time. If someone gets through that process, we put them in and they don't pass. Do they pay us back for their time? And how does that work? Is there anything that protects the investment of the village in a potential candidate who we don't know that they're going to get through that process? Or has that never been an issue? Or I'm just curious.
That's a very good question. And my understanding is that contracts such as those aren't enforceable in the state of Wisconsin. But this is a process that I'm relatively new to, and not a bridge that we've crossed.
Okay.
Given what I do at MATC, I am aware of, say, if a candidate is hired, goes through the police academy, typically the training costs are reimbursed by training and standards through the Wisconsin Department of Justice.
Correct.
If it does not successfully complete, then the agency is billed for the cost of that training. But that would be the only other real caveat that I'm aware of.
And I guess we haven't crossed that bridge yet. I don't know, Chief, that actually isn't those were contracts that I used to enter into, but that was a while ago. That might be something. This seems new territory because people are coming in without the requisite necessary, training, licensing, whatever. So it's just something worth probably contemplating if it becomes an issue. Maybe we wait till we hit the first bump in the road and then deal with it.
If you don't mind my kind of responding, being in this area, because of the lack of candidates, right now, Milwaukee County has been used to for years being able to get certifiable candidates that already put themselves through. Waukesha County and our other surrounding counties didn't necessarily wait for that. And there is right now, the pool is actually pretty small. The different agencies used to have that as even kind of an entry into the door that you had to be certifiable. The problem that you run into, though, is that if you have a certifiable candidate right now that doesn't have multiple opportunities because they've got different applications out there, there's usually another reason why they may not be your first choice. And I would say the village is actually being incredibly smart in this particular investment, because given our pay rate and so forth, the only agency that is continually training people and then losing them is the Wisconsin State Patrol, because they are one of the lowest payers in the entire state. They experience that regularly. But I have to admit, I haven't heard, there has been at times maybe an extension of probation, but I think that's for another time period.
But so if somebody doesn't pass, they get terminated? What happens?
They do get terminated.
Okay, so
Because
this is kind of the cost of hiring essentially.
Correct.
Okay, so for right now, that's the risk we have to take because of the nature of the pool of people out there. Okay.
Correct.
Well, hopefully we do a good job of screening and we do the stuff that you guys already did, and what you're bringing to us are people that we know are probably potentially good candidates. So.
I would, thanks. You know, isn't this just a weird virtual environment that makes it almost surreal, right? Wouldn't this be much nicer to be at Village Hall right now in person? All right. So next step in kind of our application.
Rick, is there a reason that we're not? Like, why don't we get together in person?
Because the Village Hall is closed right now.
Oh, really?
It's under construction in the area.
Oh, this is construction. I'm still thinking like I still have COVID anytime I think of everything being closed. Okay.
No, we don't have the environment.
Okay. Yep.
Otherwise, frankly, I'd be opening the door for you.
Yeah.
For purposes of our out of closed session, Chief or Captain Santiago or Captain Robleski, do you think there's anything else we need to address about process that doesn't involve these particular candidates?
Nothing for me. No.
Captain Robleski?
No, none that I can think of.
All right. And then Chief Worth, do you think there's anything else that we should address that doesn't specifically deal with these particular candidates in their process?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, then I will read it again, just since we are in virtual land, although I don't see we have any guests right now. Now, reading the notice, convene in a closed session pursuant to section 1985 sub 1 sub c of the Wisconsin state statutes for the purpose of considering issues of employment on the following items: interview police officer candidates, discuss police officer candidates to establish an eligibility list for the position of police officer. Now, having read the official notice, I would solicit a motion to go into closed session.
I move that we go to closed session.
All right. Do we have a second?
I second it.
All right. The motion has been, we've got a motion and a second to go into closed session. So just by order of how we got here, Commissioner Bullock, what do you say?
Aye.
Commissioner McKnight, what do you say?
Aye.
And Commissioner Lukasovic, what do you say?
Aye.
All right. And then just for purposes of the record, and I should have mentioned it before, Commissioner Moore is excused for this evening. He had some other issues come up. So I would also say aye, motion carries. And then because we are in virtual land, Captain Santiago, are you going to move us into a different room, restart the meeting? How do you intend to do that?
I have it set up where anybody that wants to join goes into the lobby. So technically we can stay in this room because I'll see if anybody's there. I just want to-
Okay, then with that, since we are in the recording, because we are in closed session, I think you would need to go ahead and stop the recording.
Yep.
You can watch the lobby for anybody else and just kind of leave them there, but before we, get ourselves to the candidates and get into and get